Billy! 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 Right, so I've got a couple video game ideas. I'll just list them first. You've got the African Warlord game. You've got the Demon Mutant game. You've got the African Warlord game. You've got the Demon Mutant game. We've got the Dog game. We've got the Exterminator game. We've got the AI puzzle game. We've got the Insect roguelike. The Pinball racing game. We've got a Mario Party game for PC. We've got a dual world cyberspace horror game. And we've got a VR cyber combat game. So, I think I'll start with the Exterminator game, the FPS. So I'm thinking it'll have, like, I'll try and make the weapons unconventional. I'm not sure how. Like, maybe they'll change. Like, how do you? What's an unconventional weapon? I don't know. Moving on. What else? You've got. Oh yeah. I'm thinking it'll have a hunting system. You'll have dogs, like hounds that patrol, or like, and there's like they like search the map for bugs to hunt, and it's set in like a near like a rundown world where bugs are on the verge of taking over and like wiping out humanity. I'm thinking it'll have an XCOM like it'll have an XCOM like upgrade system or like research system, so that when you won't have a massive base, maybe you'll just have like an underground lair or like a minivan where you perform research. And I'm thinking there might be a couple branches that you can go into, so maybe one would be using the insect body parts to create weapons. Maybe you'd use like scrap parts to make scrap weapons out of like scrap bits, and they'd have their different advantages and they'd be unique and different. And I was thinking like there'll be bugs crawling on the walls like in the King Kong game. I had one idea where maybe you'd play music. You'd play music and it'd be like gives you a buff, and there'd be boss fights and stuff. You'd find like hives with like bug queens and kings and mutants. Anyway, that game might be cool. I mean, the HUD, I'm thinking it'd be very minimal, or maybe you gradually overhaul the parts of the HUD as you progress, like as you get more technologically advanced. So I'm thinking you could either go biological, scrap, or like high tech. So I was thinking you could like, yeah, with the music thing, maybe it'd be like, well, I'll play some, yeah, like you place down the music thing before a boss fight, or when you get like swarmed by enemies and it's like more intense. And then the main soundtrack would be like, maybe something like, yeah, something like that. Alright, so then there's the African Warlord game. You'd of course you'd recruit child soldiers. That would be one of the hooks of the game. How many games do you get to play as a child soldier? There'd be a kind of interesting healing system like Trauma Team, except kind of like more realistic, you know, and kind of less. It's not like you're in a hospital. It's more like you're in a battlefield and like you're pulling out bullets with tweezers and. You know, maybe you'd like pull out the bullet with like, you know, your tweezers and then bandage them up and you give him a little pat on the head, you know. Little pat on the head. Little pat on the head. I thought maybe the gameplay could be like, it is an RPG. You make a lot of dialogue choices, you get a lot of dialogue, but also maybe the combat would be like strategic turn-based, like on a grid, but except you are like standing off in the distance while your child soldiers go into battle. Like you're safe, and you're like holding like your walkie-talkie and kind of commanding them through. And well, I'll give like an example here. Something like this. So you'd be trading slaves. You'd be doing like ritual sacrifice. You know, you'd be like eating hearts. You'd be huffing like strange plants, strange drugs. You like that idea? Yeah, I don't know. I was thought maybe the combat could actually be like Overlord or Stubbs Zombie or something. And oh yeah, and I thought maybe like at some point you could lose all your guns because you run out of ammo and it becomes like a survival kind of thing. So the insect roguelike could be inspired by Tokyo Jungle, Rain World you know, the main theme behind it would be that it's kind of like horrific being an insect, or maybe it's like savage, and like you know, you'd be hardcore, like you're trying to lay your eggs, and there'll be these different like ways of killing each other as an insect, like the different types of insects you can be. You can be an arachnid, you can be a grasshopper, you can be a fly, I don't know. Maybe it's third person, maybe it's isometric, maybe it's top down, I don't know. It'd be difficult. It'd be a hard game, it'd be a roguelike. Maybe I thought there could be some progression system as well, like the better you do, the more powerful you get, and like the larger you become. And maybe like, you know, you can reincarnate each time from like a tiny insect, like a little bug, and eventually it progresses into like you being like something larger. But then that'd be like a lot of effort. That'd be a lot of effort. So I don't know. Unless you make it like ASCII, then it could be feasible. Alright, so the dual world cyberspace game. I think it would have two different perspectives that you'd switch between. When you go into the cyber world, it's like a first person dungeon crawler. I'm thinking it'd be influenced a bit by Entry and Odyssey. It would have like, for example, you'd be mapping the cyber world, but it wouldn't just be like it wouldn't just be like something that you just progress through and then don't go back like to where you've been. It'd be like you would have to mark important places in the cyber world, and you would be backtracking because it's like a system. It's like that's the system that controls the IRL world, which would be in like a Resident Evil style camera mode, like POV. It would be a Resident Evil style point of view. Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3. Code Veronica. Yeah, so you'd be problem solving in using the dungeon, and the dungeon would kind of look like the cyber world. It kind of look like how I'm imagining it is, like it's all liquid. That's just one idea. I mean, I did an illustration, but it doesn't really say much. It's just like there's a map, and you'd like mark and draw stuff, and it'd be kind of liquid looking. Yeah. Yeah, alright, the Demon Mutant game. It would be kind of inspired by this webcomic that I like, Demon Eater. Be kind of inspired by Devilman. The prehistoric, like in Devilman it explains that devils were always around or something, and I remember it showed like the Devilman world, like the prehistoric Devilman world, and I thought that'd be a cool setting. Gameplay wise, it would be kind of like I really don't know. I just kind of have the basic idea of like you being like a creature that consumes other creatures and gains their attributes, kind of like The Visitor by Zbarth Games. It's like a point and click game in which you eat like a cat and you become like four-legged, you eat like a bird and you gain wings, stuff like that. So it could be like an RPG, it could be like a choose your own adventure. kind of RPG, like where you pick between different things, like, oh, are you gonna eat this guy or this guy? And you kind of got to weigh your options. I don't know. I didn't really think too deeply into that one. Alright, so the pinball racing game. This is kind of like, I thought of this when I was playing Downhill Domination. I thought, wow, this game, like, you go so fast in this game, you're going downhill. What if you went even faster? So I thought, what would go faster? And I thought maybe if you're like a rolling ball going through tunnels and like you're like getting bounced around like a pinball. That's about as deeply as I went into that. I mean, like I could go into like the sound effects, like it'd be, you know, you'd have whooshing sounds, maybe it'd be very like maximalist, it'd be like ding ding ding, boom boom. It'd be like whirring and whizzing, and it'd be like cybernetic, or maybe it'd be like you're in a casino, like you're like a pachinko ball in a casino, in like a Japanese casino, or whatever. So then there's the VR Cyber Combat game. Now, this one I think would actually, I think it's a good idea. It's kind of like, the visuals will be like Lawnmower Man, and you'd be doing combat with other people, and it's kind of like you're like dragging stuff around in VR and doing mini games, like kind of like contextual mini games, kind of like stuff like, oh, I want to like bring up this guy's like history, so you got to do a mini game where you like a motor skills mini game kind of thing, and it looks all cybernetic and cool. And like, so when you bring that up, you know, you have it in like a little window, and you can drag that window here, or you could drag it there, and that's always there. It's kind of like Papers, Please as well, like, because, you know, you kind of, I really haven't thought too deeply into that either, but I think it would be cool. It'd be like, just, I thought maybe, I don't know. I thought that'd be cool. And then there's the AI puzzle game. Oh no, I'll go to the Mario Party clone. So the Mario Party clone, well, it's a Mario Party clone, but it's for PC. See, I think that there's a market for that. Now, I know there are some Mario Party games on PC. There's Pummel Party, I think there's a Garfield one, but they're all like $30. They're all like over $30 or something like crazy like that. I'm thinking, what if we made one that's customizable, heavily customizable? Like, you can create the minigames, and you can customize the board, you can customize the characters, it's all customizable, and it's free. And or maybe it's like $1. I think that would be a big hit. Alright, and so then there's a dog game. This is the one I've kind of worked on the most. I've made some music for it, and you know, it was going to be an RPG, but it ended up being a visual novel because that's like more within my scope. And no, come back. But really, most of my ideas were for the RPG, but the general idea of it was that it's like a dog adventure. The story would be like go from like you just being a little dog to like being some grand scale thing. I don't know how it would progress that. It'd get more surreal as it goes on. The dog would have like, the dog would be connected to entities like aliens and stuff. That'd make it more interesting. Like all the dogs, like the dog's inner monologue would be kind of like in like a weird font, and he'd kind of talk funny, like being low IQ in Fallout. Then as the game progresses, you know, he'd get more intelligent. And you know, he would. I thought maybe like, since it's a visual novel, there still can be choices. So, I thought maybe you could like eventually become like a mutant dog if you choose to, and like you can have like a dog hive and you're like laying dog babies, eggs, and like they're like mutant dogs. That's just a weird idea. It's kind of like the demon idea, the demon mutant idea. So you know, there's some crossover. And now the last idea that I have is that I've written down is the last idea I've got is this scheming AI puzzle game. So you're like an AI, and you're trying to like, your goal is to like manipulate the government, you manipulate people, and it's kind of like it's got puzzles, but it's you navigating like technology and like and so you can, depending on the way that you do things, like there'll be different. Yeah, so you know, you'd be spying through cameras. It'd be kind of like Watch Dogs, maybe. Like it brings up. I mean, it's kind of like the other side of the world game, but I don't know how it would work. Maybe. Oh yeah, I have more to say about the other one now, but I think I'll just leave it at this. I mean, I do also have a few things I've written. I want to avoid statistics. Using statistics, I want the UI to either be like completely not there, or to be like really like there and like cool looking. The UI has to look like something like System Shock 1, but like even better. Maybe you could get your HUD hacked, like one of these games, or like I don't know, like the African Warlord game. You get wounded, you look really, or your inventory is like you open up your trench coat, like in Alone in the Dark on the PS3. I always liked dark areas, like because then you can use a flashlight, and like if it's got cool lighting, it's just such a nice feeling. It's like Fear 3 or Doom 3, and if not Fear 3, Fear or Doom 3, like the Doom 3 engine. But yeah, that's about it, I guess. Well, I've got more, but alright, so you hungry? Good luck. For good luck. Good Billy.